How's it going, John?
Eric, it continues to go.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, this is for future listeners, we are recording this on Wednesday night, January 6th, and there has been much craziness and excitement in DC over the counting of the electoral votes to declare Biden the victor of the 2020 election. And we're still watching that, but this isn't a political podcast, I guess.
My boy, my 14-year-old, has been riveted to the news all day today, watching the goings on, and he's been keeping me up to date occasionally during the day as to what the latest and greatest is. So it's been good in that aspect for having conversations,
Okay.
But it's been bad as Wednesdays are the days that they are not in classes. So they technically don't have school. So it's not like he could be distracted by school. I mean, I think he did some homework, but he's been mostly just
watch C-SPAN all day.
Yeah, he's been flipping between NPR and NBC News. I think he's found a couple of his favorites, and he's been watching those. So, but it's we
listened to NPR through dinner tonight, and my wife was like, "Should we put on some music or something?" And I was like, "No, I haven't actually heard anything all day. I want to keep kind of tracking." At that point, it was mostly getting wrapped up, and the Senate was proceeding with their vote. But anyway, there will I'm sure be more things happening over the course of the next week.
Anyways, so enough of that.
Yeah. Any what? So let's see. Oh my gosh, it's only been a few days back in January, and it feels like there was no Christmas break. I don't know. Did you get a vacation? Second half of your vacation? Do anything? Hopefully not exciting for New Year's.
No, we hung out. My middle daughter, I think I mentioned this before, has discovered the Marvel movies and is now on her second round of watching them. The first time she just kind of watched them in arbitrary order, and then she is now. And then after about a few movies in, and her being confused, I said, "Watch them in order." And now she's on her second round, watching them in order.
All right.
I also rented and watched Tenet.
Oh, I watched that over the break as well. Okay.
I enjoyed it. Although we had to keep pausing the movie because I was watching it with daughter number 2. We made a deal. She would watch that one with me if I watched the Maze Runner trilogy.
Oh.
She had read those books and then said, "I want to watch the movies now." So I watched the Maze Runner with her, and she watched Tenet with me, and we had to keep pausing it because she's like, "All right, now I'm confused. Are they going forward or backwards?"
Exactly. We watched it once, but I think it's the sort of thing that I would need to watch it a second time or more to really figure out and understand all the different situations. So it was definitely one of those movies.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those movies. So, sorry, speaking of media, though, the other thing we watched, I and my boys watched, was the Queen's Gambit over the break, which was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed that. And I guess, I'm never going to wind up watching anything that unless it's totally super popular and I get kind of my arm twisted and I'm late to the table. But yeah, it was good and short. That was the nice thing. It was only like 8 episodes, so something that was totally doable over the course of a few nights.
Got it.
So yeah, that was cool.
Well, I am also very excited. I don't know if I mentioned, but we have a number of my windows since I've been at
Ah,
working from home. I've had some windows that I discovered they're double pane windows. The seals had failed and they were dirty on the inside because I went to clean them and discovered I could not clean them.
not on the
And
inside, not on the outside.
so I found a place that will fix them and replace them, and they're finally coming tomorrow. Uh, because they were supposed to be installed almost 2 weeks ago. It was supposed to be installed between Christmas and New Year's. So I guess a week and a little bit ago.
Okay.
But apparently, the guy who's installing them called later and apologized for missing his appointment. He was trying to catch up because he discovered that he had spent all day in the house doing window repairs of a family who had all been sick with COVID.
Oh,
And so he didn't want to spread it, and he
how
was
selfish.
so I told him don't worry about it, because I was starting to get a little nervous because I had like called him like 3 times on 3 different days saying, hey, you missed your appointment, are you still coming, what's going on, and so no big deal. So apparently he's coming tomorrow to replace my windows so that in my office, when I look out my office window, I will see not the dirt on the window, but my beautiful backyard.
That is awesome.
So
That is exciting. That is exciting. Let's see. So I had a couple. So did you guys lose power Saturday night? There was a big storm here, at least.
no,
No.
we
So
did not lose power at
a
any point.
friend of mine lost not a terribly lot, but like part of a fence on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I got a call Sunday morning. Hey, this happened. And he's got a hurt wrist. And so he wasn't able to fix it himself. So I wound up going over Sunday. Pretty late because I had another project I was working on. It's been water mitigation season is what it is. I was working on a gutter project already, and I've got my leaking basement still, and then he calls and says, hey, my fence got blown down, can you help? And so I went over and kind of checked it out, and he's like, oh yeah, it doesn't look like it was in concrete or anything like that. So I was like, okay, no big deal. I got a post and some 2x4s, pressure treated 2x4s to kind of help replace. It was just one post and then 2 sections of fence, and there was concrete, and it had to be dug out by hand because the post had snapped off right at level, and I didn't have I didn't have a pickaxe. I didn't have anything to try and break the concrete up a little bit. So it was pretty much dig down underneath it, try and get it out of the hole. And so anyway, that was my Sunday from like afternoon till dark. And then Tuesday after work on Tuesday, I ran over and so got the post in on Sunday. And I had to go a second trip to Lowe's, back to get another bag of concrete and one of those circular forms, because I had dug such a big hole, trying to get the concrete out that I kind of
Right.
put a circular form in and then packed the mud around the outside, and then poured and sank the concrete post on Sunday night, and then gave it a couple of days to try and firm up a little bit before we hung the fence off it. So
Right.
it was a bit of a impromptu crumb situation, and but if there's one person on this podcast that's done a bit of fencing, that would be me. Not that any of it's quality. I have fence level will travel. I don't know. It's pretty bad. So, but as intimated, my water solution has not solved the basement flooding issue. Flooding's such a destructive
that seems like
word.
a dramatic word.
That's a very dramatic word. Dramatic. That's a good thing. My my basement dampening issue.
That one works.
I guess the good thing is it's literally comes from under my desk. So when I'm in sock feet, I'm like, and now we go get towels. Anyway, so I have a next solution to try for that, but that will probably happen this weekend. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, and then while I'm on all day
for the next few days.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if that's good. That means I can get it done, or if that means it's bad that I won't be able to confirm. It's good. I'm going to go with good.
All right.
Well, I threw one thing in follow-up here. I threw two things in follow-up. I can't count. Can't even count to two. Oh, my gracious. What a day. So let's see. My first one, I was like, as I was looking around for other things, on Hacker News, I think I saw this. I'm like, well, maybe this is follow-up, except for like 3 years ago. But this is a guy or a person that ran performance tests with and without CPU mitigations, like for the Spectre Meltdown. The mitigations that have gone in over the course of the last couple of years and a couple more generations of hardware. What penalty are we paying for those mitigations? And we talked about this. I was like, we talked about this on the podcast because I it was back in the beginning though. Episode 9 was not long after we started, obviously, and not long after Spectre and Meltdown. We had Carl come talk about Meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the net of this article is that on the Core i7 77 and 8700, it's about 75% of the performance. So you give up about 25% of your performance of your CPU with mitigations on. And then down to, if it's a Core i9, what is it? 10,900K? It's about 95%. So if you get a pretty top of the line, it's not that bad. But from the CPUs from a couple of years ago, still pretty substantial. So, and there was more info in there about the AMD overhead, which is the latest one's about 90%. But anyway, that was that. That's kind of something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. And then the second thing, there's continued to be dribbles and maybe even more than dribbles coming out about
more
SolarWinds.
More SolarWinds adjacencies.
That's right. That's what I called last week's episode. What didn't it? Yeah. No, this will be the gift that continues giving, sort of. But and there's more stuff that came out today, but that I'm not sure about yet. So I think I'm going to err on the side of let's let that settle down a bit. But a couple days ago, the link we'll put in here for this piece of follow-up, the government agencies. Let's see. The quote is 4 U.S. cybersecurity agencies, including FBI, CISA, ODNI, and the NSA, have released a joint statement formally accusing the Russian government of orchestrating the SolarWinds supply chain attack. U.S. officials said that an advanced persistent threat actor, likely Russian in origin, was responsible for the SolarWinds hack, which officials described as an intelligence gathering effort. So, I forget how much, I've opined on this particular situation at all, but there's lots of, table thumping about what we should and shouldn't do because of things like this. But I'm kind of more cautious, I would say, in thinking that, you kind of gotta people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. So, okay. Hey.
More to come, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure more. There will be more. Yeah, I think I saw a tweet from Dmitry Alperovich today, who was founder of CrowdStrike, used to work at McAfee. He he did like I'm the worst. What's the dragon show from HBO from a couple years ago?
Game of Thrones. Game
of Thrones. He did a Game of Thrones reference that was like, the supply chain attacks are coming. This is only the beginning. Not that it's the total beginning, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, speaking of supply chain attacks.
Okay. Speak of supply chain attacks. Look at you and your segues tonight. All right. Segue, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So one of the holy grails of some kind of software attack would be if you could actually get what code you wanted to run embedded in the source code before it was compiled and then signed by a company and sneak it in, which is kind of
what happened.
SolarWinds has elevated in people's eyes, which doesn't play well for general oopses like what apparently has happened to Nissan. One of their source code repositories was leaked online after one of their repositories was misconfigured, so it was made publicly available. And slightly worse than that, apparently, is the default username and password of admin granted access to all of their source code to the following source code. Some of their mobile apps, some of their diagnostics tools, their dealer portal, some internal libraries, some of their in-car services, a bunch of different stuff apparently was inadvertently leaked because a cloud repository where they stored source code was left available publicly on accident. So you can read through the article and take note of what it is. Of course, Nissan spokesperson confirmed the incident and is looking to do some information and investigation and figure out what actually happened. Accidents happen, stuff like this can happen, especially when everything's in the cloud. And, we've talked about S3 servers or cloud buckets, whether they're Dropbox or whatever, that have opened things up for the world for anyone who happens to be passing by to pull data from. This would be an interesting thing if since it's their actual source code servers, if someone were able to add some source code to it, commit the changes with the admin password, and hope nobody noticed.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Bummer, but there you go. Leaks happen in all sorts of ways, and I think it's going to be very obvious that 2021 is going to be the year of supply chain attacks.
Well, it's maybe a little early to go that far out. I mean, if you want to, you can go as far out as you want. Who knows what it's starting out that way, though.
Yeah.
Or
at least
no default passwords. No default passwords.
Yeah.
I wonder. So for IoT devices, has the California law gone into effect yet that requires non-default passwords, non-common default passwords?
Yeah, the law goes in. Oh no, the law's been in effect for a year. It went into effect January 1st, 2020.
Oh, well.
So there you go.
This isn't an IoT device, but that's one less thing, or a billion less things. So I'm looking at the article here, and I chose a Catalan article for mine as well. But do you see the picture of the tweet in there talking about one of the pieces of code in the code dump? where
Yeah.
the SMAT web scrape, it says SMAT/web scrape is a tool by the data science/market research team, which scrapes all current offers on cars by zip code from chooseanissan.com. So one team inside Nissan is creating a package to scrape the site of another team to find out what the current offers are on cars.
Right.
That seems dysfunctional. but perhaps expected in a large company.
Yeah.
It's writing a web scraper is not terribly hard. Maybe easier than going and talking to
That's right.
Jim or Sally in finance, or if there is even a Jim or Sally, a single person that you could talk to.
Right.
Oh, that's funny.
Alrighty.
That's funny.
Well, there you go. That's what I thought was interesting this week.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna make this a hard-coded password episode because I saw when you put that in there, I was like, oh. So my article is Zyxel firewalls and VPN gateways had a hard-coded password. Well, they had a backdoor that used a password, and the backdoor password was visible in one of their firmware binaries. So,
oops.
Yeah. So A, they put a backdoor in place, and then B, somebody accidentally, left the password of it in some script or something. So here's the stuff I pulled out of here. So let's see. It says more than 100,000 Zyxel firewalls, VPN gateways, and access point controllers contain a hard-coded admin-level backdoor account. And I guess that's the other important thing. It's it didn't say. Oh yeah, it does. That it says it grants root access. Root access via SSH. So that means if you can get into one of these things, you can then you can get into any that you can see. So if you've got one on your edge that you can get onto, and then you could use that to get to internal, you could use this to sort of land and expand in somebody who's a Zyxel customer. So that was at least it appears to be a decent, it's not an admin password. It's ZIF ZYFWP / and then maybe that's some leet speak. I can't quite tell for the password, but it's it's not admin. But it's evidently it includes many of their top products, including business. Let's see, it says business grade devices, usually deployed across private enterprise and government networks. So exciting. And then see it says so it was a Dutch research team that found it, published a report. Well, this says it published before the Christmas 2020 holiday, although the article I read was from this past weekend. Let's see. It said the researchers said the account had root access to the device because it was being used to install firmware updates to other interconnected Zyxel devices via FTP. And then here was the real kicker. I felt like this was the kicker. In an interview with ZDNet this week, IoT security reacher Ankit Anubhav said Zyxel should have learned its lesson from a previous incident that took place in 2016. Zyxel devices released at the time contained a secret backdoor mechanism that allowed anyone to elevate any account on a Zyxel device to root level using an SU password.
Right.
But the thing here is that this is actually worse because this is a full account, not allowing sudo, basically. So with the previous one, you couldn't just SSH remotely. You had to have access to a compromised account, and then you could elevate. But from this, you can just pure SSH from the get-go. So Merry Christmas, I guess. So anyway, yeah, hard coded password day. There you go.
There you go. Cool.
Okay, I had a second
Sidebar.
topic, kind of. I'm kind of in the sense that there's like no data about this, but it's so freaky and freaky cool that I gotta at least say something.
Yeah.
Oh, because when you say that 2021 is going to be the year of supply chain attacks, I don't know. WebAssembly is kind of high on my list. So this is a fully working SMB protocol implementation in WebAssembly. So it runs entirely in the browser. So one of the first things is call me when I can launch Eternal Blue via socks from a tweet. So and I saw I know I posted this to our Slack or the thing earlier today, and you did the Jurassic Park Ian Malcolm, and somewhere in here maybe it's deleted. Oh, this is making me sad because I I hearted a reply earlier today that was like a Friends. I think it was Ross from Friends going, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?" So this, the ability to basically compile and leverage the browser, leverage quote unquote binary code in the browser is going to be an interesting vector. And
security seems like the right industry to be in.
Oh my.
For job security,
so to speak. So the exact quote of the tweet we'll list in here, but I'll say it on the podcast since this is an audio thing. Quote, I waited 2 years for this, rewrote Impacket for this, asked cryptographers to remake algos in Python for this, spent enormous time on my life to make this happen. It's finally here. This finally works, and I can't find the words to express my satisfaction. And then the response was a fully working SMB protocol implementation in WebAssembly. It runs in your browser. So anyway, watch this space. But that leads into something fun. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to take over the first something fun slot here and check out, because this is one of the things that he used. This is Project Pyodide on GitHub, and I'll put the GitHub link in the show notes here. Huh. But this is a fully working Python interpreter in WebAssembly with at least a few. It says it's got 35 scientific packages that have been compiled to run in WebAssembly. So including NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, parts of SciPy, and NetworkX. So, and when used in a browser, Python has full access to the web APIs. So, this is a way of, today, I mean, I run Jupyter notebooks all the time, right? Jupyter, start the server, connect to the then, loads up a browser, connects to no, everything would be running straight in the browser.
Sorry, I'm crazy. Totally playing with the console.
oh, yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, you saw the link that says you could fire up a Python REPL.
Yes.
Directly in your browser. Yes, it works.
I was just double checking and playing. That is kind of cool. I had not seen that yet.
So this is my something fun, and I don't quite know how I'm going to use this, but I got to use this in some way or shape or form. So this is cool.
The browser is the OS.
Well, so says Chrome.
Wasn't that Netscape's big? Wasn't that one of their big pushes? Was the browser is the OS? Wasn't that one of their taglines?
Or something like Sun, that. The network. The network is the.
Yeah. Now I need to double check that.
I don't know. I feel like there was a Solaris. It might have been Cisco. Like old advertising slogan that the network is the OS or the.
Here it is. Mark
What?
Andreessen, the Netscape co-founder,
Okay.
is credited with many bold visionary claims, such as, software is eating the world. I think you mentioned that one last week. Not all of Andreessen's predictions are as ringing and relevant. His 1995 proclamation that the browser will be the operating system still reverberates around the web despite the elusiveness of the concept. So there you go. It was Mark Andreessen, Netscape co-founder, who did
there
say.
You go.
That's what I was thinking of.
There you go. You're
real-time follow-up.
You the man. Real-time follow-up. Well played. So anyway, there you go.
Now I need to actually put that link in the.
That's right.
Add that link.
Well, but if you're a Python person, check out Pyodide, and we'll put the link in.
That's a cool project. All right, so I have two something funs, and I think they're actually fun. So not
good.
Eric fun, but actual fun. So
this is good.
Have also been spending a little bit of time in the last week doing some 3D printing.
Okay.
My wife asked for a way to mount her iPad on the stationary bike so that she could watch her shows while she rides a stationary bike.
Okay.
And the bike we have doesn't. So I thought I can do that. So I've been building some things with my 3D printer. But I found an article that talks about a faster, more efficient way to 3D print. And it's by, normally your 3D printer has 3 axes, right? X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently researchers at Penn State have created a 5-axis additive printer. So not only does it go X, Y, and Z, but then it's got, what are the 2 airplane ones? Yaw and...
Pitch
and yaw. Pitch and yaw. I don't think it actually says that in the article. That's how I mentally think about it. It shows some examples of what it means to do it. And the whole point is to remove having to add support structures for your 3D prints. So not only does it, just build X, Y, and Z, it'll tilt it, pitch and yaw, so that as it prints, it doesn't need to add this, so it can print overhangs without actually being overhangs. It's an interesting concept. So I thought this was kind of cool. There aren't any printers like these, I think, available. It's more like a research project and some proof of concept by doing some of these ideas. But I thought it was kind of cool, since I've been trying to do some 3D printing for various reasons over the last week or so.
So does it pitch and yaw the bed? I can't quite tell on this. It doesn't
actually say. Yeah, the article doesn't necessarily say. And so that's, as I'm just looking at the pictures of how they talk about it, I think it may be purely theoretical, as a research project, and not, I don't know. The article that I'll link is where I saw this. It isn't helpful. It's just more conceptually interesting.
Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, I could see that interesting. So the funny thing is that, a lot of this, I guess, the subtractive manufacturing, if you've ever seen like a CNC machine at work, like a real CNC machine, like go on YouTube. There's some cool videos. And
yeah.
So, and yeah, okay.
So that was my first one, and my second one.
That's cool. All right.
Is it's on graphics, and it's actually a video game, which I have only watched the video because I can't get the game to run in my browser. But the whole point of this was something that I wasn't aware of, and it's about floating point precision errors in video games. That apparently video games and platforms like Unity and I assume the Unreal Engine have to deal with floating point errors when they're creating objects. And apparently it can start to make the video and the game kind of jittery and shaky.
Huh.
just due to simple math. And there's a YouTube video you can watch on what it is. But so what this guy did was he created a game with a harpoon and a whale that the more you mess with the world, the 3D world around you, the less error correction it does for floating point errors. And so it really gets weird. And I just thought it was a cool video. Well, I guess in true podcast form, I suppose this is 2 weeks in a row with a video to watch, but we'll link to the website. You should go look at it. But my favorite part of his short little blurb here is, so to speed up my development, I use 2 store-bought access. This game does not present them in the best light, so please check them out in their intended form below. And he links to the Unity assets and, probably the higher quality, higher resolution ones where the game kind of intentionally makes them look worse as the game goes on.
Huh.
So I thought this was just kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, that was just like a 30-second video, and that got pretty janky at the end. Huh.
Yeah. So there you go. That's my something fun.
All right. Well, that's
something
great.
Fun's.
Something's fun. All right. Well, hey, Eric, stay safe and stay sane this week. Yeah. Everybody, don't stay home unless you're getting vaccinated. Even then, still wear your mask. So, still got a little ways to go.
Yeah. Daughter number 1 got her COVID test today. I assume that it was negative because I didn't hear anything about it. But Friday, I'm taking her back to school and dropping her off at her apartment. So
another long drive for you.
Another 2 days, 24 hours in the car. Not looking forward to it, but I don't mind it as much as one might think. I do enjoy a little bit of the solitude and getting caught up on all the podcasts I haven't been listening to.
I have so many podcasts stacked up. I'm never going to get to them all. So, hey, if you're actually listening to this, I appreciate it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
And if you are, then you must like it. So go rate us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play, because that would be awesome.
I listened all the way to the end. It was crap. I'm going to go put a bad review.
That's right. All right, my friend. First episode of 2021. May we have a safe and sane 2021.
Less eventful, please.
That would be just fine with me. All right. Have a good week, Eric.
Yep. See you, John.
Bye.
Bye.